2014 AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame inductee Byron Hines. From day one, the quarter mile has been Byron Hines' proving grounds.
You know, that's always been like the standard in the magazines. You know, if you looked at any kind of spec or stat on a vehicle, we always had a quarter mile time. It was fun to do. If you did it at the drag strip, it was legal and you could go as fast as you wanted. And, it was always an indication of how much power the thing had, and it's always a standard that everybody kind of gauged every performance vehicle from. And it's just a hell of a lot of fun, too.
As his experience grew, so did his reputation and wisdom. Despite his desire to ride his machines, he realized he wasn't as fast as his bikes, and it was time to find another rider.
You know that I could have been a drag racer without Byron Hines. The difference of having Byron Hines for your crew chief and not meant the difference between winning and losing.
And win they did. A quiet and humble man, Byron Hines led his engines, and Terry Vance do the talking for him. Together they won 14 national drag racing championships.
Well, my first contact with drag motorcycles in general was at the U.S. Nationals right here in Indianapolis. That was the era when he was just beginning, that's the 70s, when he was just beginning to hook up with Terry Vance, and their brains kind of just melded perfectly, and they turned into such a powerhouse of a team. And just watching him then, you knew that this guy was all about precision and engineering. And he was always looking ahead, but every detail right here all the time.
While Terry built the business side of the partnership, Byron concentrated on engine performance and racing. The victories just kept piling up to the point where even Byron can't give you an idea how many race wins there are.
I know there's quite a few of them, but I just don't really keep track of that. I mean, I probably should, but I just haven't.
The humble nature of the man cannot hide the impact he has had on the sport of professional motorcycle drag racing. The numbers are indeed staggering. 23 national drag racing titles, 130 national drag racing wins. And that's not counting the engines he has provided to other drag racing teams, which have resulted in 3 additional championships and over 50 more wins. By the way, Byron also built the engines that broke both the 7- and 6-second mark for motorcycles in the quarter mile. In addition to the drag racing accomplishments, Vance and Hines were a powerhouse in AMA road racing, winning 3 national titles.
I wouldn't say I'm the best. We're the people you work with, the competition you get to work with, the racers we work with. We made a lot of mistakes. Don't get me wrong. I worked with Terry for years and years, so we learned quite a bit there. We learned what was important, what the trends were, what to stay with and what to ignore and what to embrace. A lot of the knowledge is just stuff you learned on the track and then applying it. But we did a lot. We were diversified. We did a lot of different things. We ran top gas, we ran top fuel, we ran pro stock, we ran junior gas, A fuel. We did a lot of different things, and we had a lot of exposure to different types of racing. So that just, at that time in the 70s and 80s, he just soaked it in. There was so much stuff going on and so many good people to work with.
He doesn't really take a lot of the credit that he deserves, but he's a hard worker and he's the smartest guy I know.
I have the utmost respect for him. He's a very special guy. I've never met anyone that has kind of the moral center that he has, the integrity that he has, and he's a wicked smart guy.
The humble man from Nebraska who was fascinated by motorcycles and making horsepower on the drag strip is part of one of the most respected brands in the motorcycle business today. The highly competitive, low-cost Vance & Hines Harley-Davidson Road Racing Series is now in its 4th season. And from their shops in California and Indiana, Vance & Hines exports exhaust systems and accessories around the globe.
You know, he's had engines that were winning races in the 70s, and he's got engines winning races in the 2014. So, I think as far as dedication and commitment to the sport in all of motorcycle racing, he's probably the best ever.
To be honest with you, I owe everything to him, because I'm positive I would be a parts counter mechanic or a parts counter guy somewhere doing something if it weren't for him.
In terms of history, I think as far as anybody that wasn't racing a motorcycle, he can stand at the top or right next to anybody at the top as far as supporting motorcycle racing. I mean, I don't know of anybody better that has achieved more than he has.
For his groundbreaking achievements in motorcycle competition, the AMA Motorcycle Hall of Fame proudly welcomes Byron Hines.